bring greetings from my Commissioner of Police, Madam Awatulati Chen, IPS. Though of course, I feel fortunate that she got held up in some meetings and I had to come in at them, and I'm blessed to be in your midst here this afternoon. Empowering women, eliminating violence. These are topics which we had discussed over and over again. We've heard, we've deliberated on it, as well as even at the governance level, much plans, policies have been implemented, as all of us will be aware of it. However, the point of concern here is it's become more frequent. Violence against women, crime against women, frequently hunasuru hoijase. Waila to awareness program imanu thakanai, and it never used to be frequently heard. But iman policies, iman implementation, rollout korease, awareness programs are being held, discussions are being done, debating on it, what needs to be done to make our women, to make our young children safe. But yet, it's becoming more frequent, the reporting of crimes against women, violence that is being reported against women and children. Itulah context, this morning as I was gathering my thought, what to share with this gathering, I will just break up my sharing in 2 points. The first point, I'll discuss on my professional observation on the topic of crime against women, violence against women, young girls, as well as young children. My 26 years of service now, I'll share that to this gathering of what I had observed. My second part will be my personal, not as a police officer, but my personal take, my individual take on how we can come together and address this issue of violence that we are being faced very much frequently. As we all know, policing, we are bounded by the criminal justice delivery system. I would just want to make this cycle of criminal justice delivery made known to all the gatherings, to all those people who are gathered here. When a complaint gets reported to the police station, the cycle of this criminal justice delivery starts initiating. It has many pillars in this criminal justice delivery who plays a very important role. But this afternoon, I'll just stress on 5 major pillars and briefly explain to this gathering what the role is all about. The first pillar is the police department. Second pillar, the judiciary. The third, the prosecution is there. The fourth, the forensics laboratory in any state or in any place. And the third pillar, the prison. These 5 pillars plays a very important role when we come to this type of violence that is being perpetrated on women or in any type of crime. These are the main pillars that we need to be aware of it so that we can address such type of sensitive issues. Now, police. What does the police department have to do? Since this is a gathering and we're going to discuss on the matters, issues that is being faced by women. So what police department do here? Police department, when a complaint is being registered in our police stations, our main our main duty here is to link the crime with the accused. That is very important. American itu duita crime or the person who had committed the crime needs to be linked. And what is the linking force here? The linking force here is the evidences that we need to collect. Now, what are the types of evidences? It can be physical evidences, it can be biological evidence, documentary evidence, digital evidences. Many types of evidences are there. But for us as a police force, as us as a law enforcement agencies, investigating agencies, we can come to that hijack. And the reason why itu apni kan stress the first responder of any type of crime, especially in regard to women, we come to complain we come into the picture. The general public, the family, the neighbors, takkan perahi first itu first responder ho jai. So we will be requiring your help to give us those evidences, to give us inputs, so as for us, the police investigating agencies, to build up a case, to build up a strong prosecution. So that is the point in regard to the police department, especially the investigating agencies. Second here, the forensic science laboratory. It plays a very important role here because the evidences that we have collected on its own does not hold ground. It has to be examined by the forensics experts to prove it in the court during the trial process. So the importance of forensic science laboratory is very important. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. Social media platforms have been bombarded when it comes to this requirement. And even in the court during the trial process, the report itself, the expert need not be there in the court, but the report itself holds ground. However, in this modern world, we have defense counsels who pray to the court that we want to examine the experts. Even that go to the extent of examining the experts. However, the importance of that single piece report by the forensics experts proves the matter in the court. Now, the prosecution. This is the third pillar. In the court, what happens? American law enforcement agencies, we've investigated the case, we've submitted in charge sheet, we build up the case. Now it is the duty, the prosecutors in the court are the ones who are representing the case that we have built up, and they defend our findings, our statements in the court of law. Itulah context, the prosecution la context, the stakeholders, the NGOs who are present here. I'm not sure whether in Nagaland, because as per the provision of law, the government can be praised to appoint a special prosecutors as well. So when it comes to crime against women or violence against women, and it is very sensitive, and the NGOs, be it Naga Matters Association or be it our State Commission for Women, activists can fight with again for the case to be trials robo like charge to like iniga. However, one step ahead, global parijai, and that is to pray for a special prosecutor who can fight for a case in the court of law. So this point I wanted to share with the stakeholders here, so that that step can also be taken up. The judiciary, all of you knows, American case submit the way the case investigation, and depending on the presentation by the prosecutor and the defense counsel, they pronounce the judgment. The last pillar, the prison, one of the most important pillar here in the criminal justice delivery system. I want to concentrate more on this. Now, in our Naga society, what's happening is, especially in regard to crime against women, offenses committed towards women and young children, most of the cases it gets compromised. Christian Dhoram Lanam Pra 24 Polish. Itu Kurigana Ahase. I think all of you must be aware of it. In this context, I want to talk about the role of a prison. And again, adding to this, I'm sure all of you knows about the new criminal law that has been rolled out, right? This is to do away with the colonial era mindset, because the old criminal laws were enacted during their time. So now, during the British rules, during the colonial era, they were ruling over us. So they had enacted laws, provisions, where they can continue with their rule over the Indians, right? So to do away with the colonial era, new criminal laws were introduced. We had started utilizing these new criminal laws last year, July 2024. We're still in the process of getting ourselves acquainted with it. However, 2 points I want to point out this, and this is in regard to the introduction of community services. The legal system now has come up with community services. Into community services, clearly introduced because now in prison, who are there? Hardcore criminals are there. We do not want young minds, young souls, young offenders, first-time offenders, to be put together in those locations where they'll be influenced by those people. That is the reason why this provision has been introduced, community service, where when the judge is passing his judgment, he assesses it and he feels that in areas where a person who's been brought in his court, a chance should be given to her, to him or her. In that way, the community service close to Ed Kurala Ase. The second point is in regard to what prison is all about. I think Amikhan Naga Manukhan pe itu colonial mindset to all of Thakanis na I've been observing. Itula context prison, jail, police manbra dhuri shekole to it has a very negative connotation. Khandan Shandan Khan pola pali ho jai. They do not want him or her to be confined in that type of location. But one aspect which I want all of us to be aware of, and wherever we go and discuss or awareness program takatante, itu lang mindset to ulay digena introduce the positive impact prison pillar has been set up. Ekjon manute arrest kurishe, confined kurigena. He is serving his sentence in the jail, in the prison. It's just 20% of what the prison is supposed to be achieving. The remaining 70 to 80%, it is to reform those individuals who are being confined in the prison. But our Naga mentality, our Naga mindset, beyond police those people who have been arrested because of the crime, of the offenses they had committed. Now, what's happening here? And that may be the reason why we are hearing frequently the type of offenses, the type of crime that's been committed against women. Because we are aborting to let it complete its full course. Because in the prison, they have facilities where psychologists are there, counseling they are there. They are given life skills. That period of confinement is for them to reflect within themselves. It took period and they are given life skills as well. Because the way they committed crime, there might be a reason behind that, which we may not be aware of it, but he himself, he knows it, and the prison is set up for that. So it can't stay just go through. He's not able to reform himself. All these things are taken care inside the confinement of the prison, because that person is not going to stay inside the prison for life. He'll be released. He'll complete his sentence. And once he's released, we want that he become a positive, contributive member in the community and in the society. So these are the 5 pillars which we all need to be aware of it and let know to our neighbors, to our families, to our friends, so that we develop that positive mindset towards all the cycle that needs to take its course. Since I'm here addressing in regard to crime against women and children, I'll just give in brief about this year's statistics on the crime that we had, crime reported in Women Police Station in Dimapur. Women Police Station in Dimapur, it covers the district of Chumu, Newland, and Dimapur. In regard to complaints received on domestic violence, a meager 11% of the complaint got converted and registered as FIR. Now guess, where did the remaining 89% went? The remaining 89% of those domestic violated report, it got compromised. Christian Dhoram Lanam action de map tishe. Ituna kade poisa. So when I talk about a prison initiative, this is a reflection, and maybe that's the reason why we are, crime against women is just increasing on a day-to-day basis. So that's the point. We really need to think about what needs to be addressed on. Then, missing a lot runaway report of women and children here again. 92% of those missing women and children, they were traced back. Once traced back, they are brought to the police station. I was just asking the other day to my women police OC and his officer and her officers, and she goes, what's the reason? Of course, we all know love is blind, right? When it comes to law, but still, she says 90 to 95% of the cases, negative home environment, abusive home environment, they do not like to stay at home. So that was the finding when it came, when I just asked the woman OC of the crime statistics in her record this year, 2025 itself. I'll share with this gathering again. In one of my district posting, I will not name the district's name, but in one of my district posting, there was a domestic violence case reported. But as the government has set up Saki One-Stop Center, the victim, she went and reported to One-Stop Center. They gave her shelter, and they were investigating on the matter that she had been me to experience. Now, as a mother, an abusive husband she had at home, she could not tolerate it. Now you can imagine a mother, a wife, mother of 3 or 4, okay? Asani pa na must have undergone years of abuses and torture. Aisha one-stop center, and Saki one-stop center took care of her. However, she was worried about the abused children at home, young children, ranging from maybe 8 to 12 years. Now it is not under the provision of one-stop Saki center. So the one-stop Saki center in charges, they got in touch with the child welfare committee. They rescue people. We were not in the picture so far. But the child welfare committee members, they were not going in the screen. Rescue no kure right? And that is how the victim came back to us, Women Police Station, and complained the report, and it issued his was. So I don't know whether Saki one-stop centers and CWCs are there, but when the government set up such institutions, one has to be empathetic towards the victim and extend help to as much as possible. But tate laga lacking dikigenai se. So to this point, because all of you go around creating awareness, you have discussion with various stakeholders. So even the functioning of Saki one-stop center, CWC should cater to the purpose for what they were stipulations. The last point, this also I had faced during one of my district posting. It is in regard to rape of a minor, not here in Dimapur, in some other district. It happened in a village. The child told the mother. It was committed by the neighbor. The village council came into the picture. Fined 50,000 Rohingya Nation. Okay. Now this incident, it came to the knowledge of the relatives of that victim, the child, and they drafted a complaint letter and directed the mother to submit it to the Women Police Station. That is where we came into the picture. We had registered the case, but then, after a few days, the mother comes. Ami case withdraw. We asked the reason why. Why do you want to withdraw? She goes, the village council chairman and the members, they summoned me to the council hall, and apne itu case withdraw no kushi do, you'll have to move out from the village. It's hard truth, but that's what goes on. When you go out, now we have to defend, support the mother. We have to deliver justice to the victim, and we have to bring the village council authorities to book. My woman OC went and informed the village council authorities. Apni Khanpra past 1 year the itu incident there. We did not talk about the threatening statement they had given to the mother, victim's mother. Because we do not want to expose her too much again, those type of complexes. The Women Police OC went to the village councils and informed them, are you aware of the Village Council Act? What are you authorized beyond what you cannot do? as per the Act, apni khantu when such crimes are committed, your duty is to report to the nearest police station. Indiga kandi inform purigana so that they'll go light on the woman victim. Indiga purigana, we left them and we summoned the village council members as well as even the mother's victim because she was standing on her stand. She does not want to go ahead with the crime investigation. Matishe, they all came, and there, because such type of sensitive cases, 3-4 parties are involved, and especially we have to protect, secure the mother as well as the victim. So all of them were called, not the victim, but the mother and the village council chairman and the members were called, and we shared to them in a very sensitive and a diplomatically way so that the mother will not be harassed. We told the mother, apni case withdraw to kuribole na pare. It's a POXO case. We have come to know of it and we have registered the case. Apni case complaint loishe gole be, it has come to our knowledge, so we will continue with the registration and investigation. And to the village council chairman and the members, you've committed an offense here as well. We'll have to take action against you also. And in the process, we succeeded. We got the offender. He is in judicial custody, and the investigation went on, and we were able to charge that offender because it was a POXO case. The statement of the victim is very important. So these are the few points that I wanted to share in regard to my professional experiences and my observation. I knew I will be the last speaker. Whole day I said, I'll just jotted down the points in regard to my personal thoughts on violence encountered by women. First, the term women empowerment, women rights at the highest level of governance and implementation is definitely bearing fruits. Kudos to all who have spearheaded this issue concerns, whereby we've come way ahead. However, and of course, much challenges still awaits us. At the grassroots level, domestic violence that gets reported very frequently at women police station, and many more outnumbering those that remains unreported. Violence against women, I would say, mostly are from within the family setup, neighbors, close circle acquaintances, basically by known people. With such observation, I personally think empowerment of individual should be propagated besides women empowerment. And when the reason why I added individual empowerment is because we need to include men here. The complexity struggle and pour out onto the weaker sex. So individual empowerment is very important. We should focus on that. What we are as adult individuals, consciously and unconsciously believe and think, cannot be easily undone. Our mindset as adults is so rigid. It takes time to unlearn the outdated, the negativity, the negative influences that is in our mindset. And this mindset have been molded over years of one's life experiences and the encounters that you have taken. And like the criminal laws, which I had stated in the third pillar of criminal justice delivery system, I may be wrong, it's quite debatable, but I feel our faith, our religion, Christianity, the church's functioning seems to have some aspects, tinge of colonial era impact, influences. And why not? Because our ancestors were introduced to the Word of God, to the Gospel, during their rule in India via the American missionaries. I just want to get you to imagine what type of environment might have been 100 years back when the American missionaries, they met our ancestors. They did not know how to read, ignorant. They did not know what the gospel was all about. And I'm sure the American missionaries might have developed tools and techniques and methods to attract our ancestors so as to they uphold the religion, the good news that they were being introduced to. And of course, we are bearing the fruit of what our ancestors had done. Here, my point is the church, it is a major important platform where mindsets of the believers could be molded. And when I talk about mindsets, it covers all-round persona of an individual, starting from its roots. That is the inner being of a person, his or her mind and soul, and moves outward towards other areas that builds an individual's personality. So on this point, I have just 3 personal inputs in regard to this sensitization awareness that the organizers have organized and conducted. My first input here. Sunday school teachers in our churches. Maybe in the past, our Naga society, we didn't have much theological graduates. And that is where the Sunday school children were taught through voluntary service of college students, of young students. But now, in our community, in our society, I think we'll be having thousands of theological graduates. We are facing the scenario here in our society. And that will take time for us adults. But the young souls and minds who are just starting, why not put them in the hands of those professionals who are trained, who are graduates in theological studies? Because as I had said, the spiritual being, the inner being is very important. That's my first point of input. Second point of input here, the church departments. I don't know whether it is only in my community setup, but I see just the women department, the youth department, and the social Sunday school department. I do not see men department. I feel in line with women department, or in line with youth department, men department should also be there. The reason why I'm proposing this is because, as my earlier speakers have all cited, all this crime against women, all this violence, it is the male gender who are indulging in. So, my second point, initiate, maybe, if possible, men department can be encouraged, and the needs cater to their inner growth, to the mental and emotional issues they face can be catered to at the church platform. My last point here. to do away with colonial influence practices of entertainment, of participation in the church platform. Yes, it's important, but I think we have placed that at the highest level of importance, and that is where I feel, I may be wrong, but I just wanted to share, I just wanted to speak what's in my mind, that needs to be looked into. In the past, when Christianity was introduced to our ancestors, all these types of activities and participation must have been introduced to attract them into the faith. Yes, it's still important. I'm not discouraging it, that participation and fellowship and entertainment should not be there. However, the primary focus here, I think we should focus on catering to the spiritual growth, saving the lost souls, to provide spiritual food, which will, in the long run, have an impactful influence all around aspects of an individual's life. And this in turn will impact our community, our society with purposeful, driven people having balanced physical and spiritual outlook. And if this is achieved, if we try and strive to work in this line, I feel and I think it will cleanse numerous ills and ailments that our community, that our society is facing, especially the issue of violence against women. Very important here, if we desire to eliminate this type of antisocial behavior from its roots, it's the mindset revival. It's the mindset shift that is required. So with these few words, I take my time. I want to thank the organizers of this program for arranging such a platform where all the stakeholders are here and we interact and fellowship. Also, thank you for time given to the police department for enabling us to share. And moreover, again to all the participants here for your patient hearing. My best wishes to all of us present here in our strive, in our efforts to build, to defend, to secure an environment safe for young women, young girls, and young children. I'm hopeful, and as I look down from here, I see intellectual, enlightened mind with just one purpose, and that is to make a difference in the community and in the society. And most importantly, not for anything else, but to glorify our Creator, to glorify our Heavenly Father, who had placed us in such an organization or in such a place where we can make a difference to the community and the society that we live. Thank you once again. Godspeed.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.